Morning, Stephen.
Good
Just
morning,
bring us
Matt.
up to speed, if you can, please, with where your squad sits just now. Firstly, is Kamar back safe and sound and awake? And how is Ryan doing in terms of his recovery?
Squad update is Kemar Roof is in transit. We've had contact, we've obviously spoke to him. We're hoping to have him available tomorrow, but he'll certainly miss today's session because he's still travelling back. But we have the medical team waiting for him later on who will look after him and assess him and make sure that he's ready for tomorrow's game. Ryan Kent is very close. We're looking to have him back with the squad sometime after the weekend in terms of training, and then we'll obviously see how he goes from there. Ryan Jack's not too far away as well. He'll be a couple of weeks back with the team, which is good news, assuming that he keeps progressing well. So yeah, we're in real good shape, and all the internationals have come back safe and well. We're just obviously waiting for Kamar to get confirmation of his availability. But last time we had contact with him, he was feeling okay.
Can you give us an insight, as supporters, really, how difficult is it, or how strange is it during an international week? Because I think we assume that it's 2 weeks off for fans, but it's not that at all for you guys, and it's clearly not that with players being away.
Look, I think it's 2 weeks off domestic football, and I think we all miss it. Certainly, I know the fans do, and we do as staff. And what we do is we follow our international players. We try and watch as many games as we can. If we can't get the games live, we try and get clips and footage to make sure we're seeing how they're playing, first and foremost. And then we obviously have a fantastic medical team and sports science team that always make contact after the game with the countries and with them personally to see and check how they're feeling, their welfare and physically. And, just keep checking to see how they are, because even though they're away on international duty, they're our players, they belong to us. So we have to make sure that the duty of care is there for them as well. So it is a long 2 weeks. As a manager, from my point of view, it's not really until this morning until you know exactly who's recovered from the games and how people are feeling and who's going to be available and looking to start and play 90 minutes for you in the next 24 hours, which we're all looking forward to.
7 domestic and European games in 3 weeks and the gap between the two internationals. Is this early enough in the season where, okay, you've got a European squad, but are you already thinking about squad rotation in terms of injuries and suspensions, etc.? In terms of, you're facing a season which could be up to, say 70 games long.
Yeah, listen, I think that's really took care of itself in many ways, Mark, from the beginning of the season till now. I think with the isolations and some of the COVID issues and some of the injuries, I think naturally we've had to rotate anyway without a choice. In an ideal world, I'm looking for this settled team to try and get people in a rhythm, to try and get the team in a better rhythm, so we can try and find a level of consistency that'll take us to where we want to get to. But it's been a real big challenge for all of us as a staff to find that settled team, because we've had so many interruptions. I think over the course of a season, I'll naturally try and offload and change to make sure that I try and keep all our best players as fresh and in the best form I can, because I think it's unrealistic to expect the same 11, maybe 12, 13 players to go the whole duration of every game. I don't think that's right, because at some stage during the season, at different times, they'd all flag and they'd all hit a brick wall. So that's my job, is to manage loads, is to pick and choose who's in the right moment, who needs offloading, who's played international games, and try and pick the freshest, hungriest team to get the job done on the weekend or midweek.
Hi Stephen. During the international break there, your own name was linked with the Newcastle job. What do you make of that sort of speculation, and how do you react when your own name is kind of continuously linked with big jobs and positions down south?
I don't really react or get involved to any kind of speculation, especially when there's someone who I have the utmost respect for is sitting in that job that the speculation's about. For me, I'm in a very big job and a very big role here that I'm very much fully focused on, and we've got a top of the table clash at the weekend, and it's a game I'm very much looking forward to. But I've certainly got one eye on Newcastle in terms of seeing Brucey get his 1,000th game. Great character of the game, someone who I've got a personal relationship with and the utmost respect for, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him get his 1,000th game. I think it's a mammoth achievement, so congratulations to him at the weekend.
Well, Stephen, just to pick up on that, Do you find it, or how would you find it? How do you find it with all the speculation about Steve when he is in the job? He's a long-serving manager. Does he deserve a bit more respect? Do you feel sympathy for him? You know, because you're in the job now, you're trying to do what he's done in terms of games, I guess.
I think the character that Steve Bruce is, I don't think he'd want anyone to have sympathy for him or feel sorry for him. I think he's been a great character of the game. You know, sitting in these positions, I wouldn't like people to be speculating about my job, so I certainly won't be getting involved in any of the speculation towards his. You know, I think it's interesting what's happening at Newcastle. I think if anyone deserves a break, it's the Geordie fans. So I'm sure the excitement levels are very high down on the Toon. And obviously everyone connected with the games looking in with interest to see how that develops. But from a personal point of view, I don't really get involved in speculation, and I wish Steve Bruce all the best.
Stephen Hearts, obviously tomorrow, they've taken the form from last season into this season and started really strongly. Do you expect a kind of similar challenge to the way Hibs came and set up at Ibrox?
Well, first and foremost, I think if you love the game and you love football like I do, I think I'm very pleased to see Hearts back in the top league, because I thought they were very unfairly treated during the COVID days, and it's great to see them back. They've started the season ever so well. Robbie's done a fantastic job. I know he's got fantastic support staff there. They've got a good team, they've got a good players, and I think they've also recruited very well. And they've almost built on the confidence and the consistency of last season and brought it into the Premiership. So no surprise that they've started well. But this is a game very much for me about us, and my focus has been on us. We're on the back of a really top result just before the international break ourselves, and we're going to be looking to try and put some distance between us and Hearts come 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon.
Does it add a different dynamic, Stephen, the fact there's more teams perhaps at the top of the table, more teams showing consistency? Does it offer a different challenge to you and your staff?
No, I think we welcome the challenge. I think it's more exciting for the league and for Scottish football. The more teams that are fighting for the title, I think it makes it more watchable. I think it makes it more excitable for people on the outside. It's no surprise. I think every club, every manager, every set of players are all living and performing and working through a challenging time with COVID. It hasn't gone. I'm sure every manager echo my words in saying that you've got to be ready for curveballs coming at any given moment. It is different in terms of your team preparation, because players can be taken away from you at any given moment, even at the last minute, with testing still going on. So it's been a challenge for everyone, and it's no surprise that the top sides in the league are all bunched pretty well up the top. But from a neutral point of view, I think that's very much exciting. From my point of view, I wish we were further out in front, of course.
Stephen, this season you've seen several of your players take their first steps in their international career, and obviously you had to balance that with Liverpool and England. Were you able to give them any words of wisdom?
No, I think, listen, we're very much a club that want to see our players go away and enjoy the international experience and go and do themselves and the families really proud. I think you've got to understand what you've got to do around the games. It's important that you remain professional, you're elite, you get the right rest and recovery, and you do the right things around the games, because what international football does is it can add maybe 10, 12, even more games to what's already a really busy schedule. And thankfully we've got some top individual professionals like Stephen Davis, who are role models for the rest of the young lads who have become professionals. So the likes of Nathan Patterson and Calvin Bassey, just to watch how Stephen Davis goes about his daily work. Also the numbers he's hit from a Northern Ireland point of view, and to have the career he's had. I mean, you won't find a better role model for Nathan and Calvin to become international and top range players for a long time, and they should be picking his brain and chatting to him at any given moment for advice moving forward, because Stephen can give them better advice than me. I haven't played international for a long time, and you forget certain things as you get older, as you know. Was
it any surprise to see Nathan play a starring role for his country and set up the winner in midweek? Did you expect him to kind of take to international football just as quickly as he has?
Certainly no surprise. I think you're talking about a kid who's really hungry. He's full of desire and commitment. I think you could see that in his performance. I watched him in the Israel game. He got off to a slow start, but I think that was down to being a little bit over-eager. I thought he settled into the game really well and got stronger and finished the game really well. Really good for me to see him playing with other top players like Andy Robinson and other international players, Billy Gilmore, these type of players that he's come through with. It was a really good game to watch. But in terms of his contribution and his outputs, there's no surprise to us because we see it on a daily basis. I mean, just before he joined up with Scotland, he put an absolute top-class delivery into the box for us to get the breakthrough or the equaliser against Hibs, and the ball for Kamaru was world class, and then he obviously got an assist in the second game for Scotland. So he's in a fantastic place, Nathan. We just need to keep him, keep his feet on the ground, keep developing him, keep learning him, keep shaping him. We need the support from the Scotland staff and that relationship as well to keep moving him forward in the right place. But there's no getting away from it. Rangers and Scotland have got a real top prospect on the hands for sure.